All right, before we get into today's show, I just wanted to take a moment to talk about this interview. Unfortunately, it's a really short one. It only ran about 18 minutes. And unfortunately, it was kind of a crazy week. We were without producer Fish, and we were working on borrowed equipment. But this band is an Emmy-nominated band, so we wanted to make sure this interview happened. And so I had set up the recording equipment in the bar where they were playing. And as we were getting into the interview, about 20 minutes in or so, the opening band came on, and they were playing so loud. Not that it's their fault, it's their job. But I couldn't hear the band respond to my questions. They couldn't hear my questions. Even the people who were sitting directly next to me, I couldn't hear what they were saying. So the waitstaff had just brought their dinner, so we called the interview at that point, and the band started eating. And it turned out that the opening band hadn't really come on yet. It was just their sound check. So after about 20 minutes or so, they had stopped playing. And at that point, I'd already broken down all the equipment, and we started talking with the band some more. And unfortunately, that was like the best stuff that came out of the interview. Was the stuff. They're such a cool bunch of musicians, and they had lots of cool things to say. And we didn't get any of that. So unfortunately, that it is what it is. We do have the brief interview, and we didn't even get into talking about their presence online and where to hear them online. So make sure you check out Gangstagrass.com, or you can check them out on YouTube. They're also on Twitter at Gangstagrass. So anywhere you can find bands, you can find them online. And make sure you check them out, because not only do they have some interesting, great music, they were some really sweet people and really interesting. So make sure you check them out, and I'm going to do my absolute best to get these guys back on for a full interview. And I'm even trying to get them down to Plymouth to play, because I think they would fit in great here. So make sure you check out Gangstagrass, and I want to thank the band personally for giving us the time that they gave us, and hopefully they'll come back on to talk with us some more. So let's get into that interview. All right, so welcome back, Inebri-ites. This is Andy, the Inebri-art podcast. So a few years ago, actually probably about a year and a half ago, friends of mine told me that I need to check out a show called Justified. And I'll be honest, my Netflix backlog has not allowed for it yet, but I had the opportunity to interview the writers and performers of the theme song to Justified. So I'm here at Thunder Road in Somerville, Mass. with Gangstagrass.
Oh, yeah.
And they've been kind enough to sit and talk with me. So how about we kind of go from left to right, and give us your name and your job in the band.
Cool. My name is Dan Whitener. I play banjo and I sing in the band, and so they call me Danjo.
I'm Landry McMeans, and I play the dobro and sing occasionally.
Yeah. I'm Wrench. Play guitar and sing and do the beats and production.
I am the grand incredible R, son, the voice of reason, a.k.a. Super Triple. That dude, that boy, that dude, that raps.
Dolio the Sleuth, lyricist, writer, MC.
Okay, so you guys started, I think, back in 2006. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so how did the evolution of a hip-hop bluegrass, is that how you describe yourself?
Well, at that time, I was doing it as a studio project, as a producer, just sampling and mashing up and putting MCs that I worked with over other bluegrass stuff. But there was such a positive response to it that I started bringing together musicians to do it live.
And so then you started to kind of take it out in Brooklyn. Is that where you guys are from, I believe?
I'm in Brooklyn. We're kind of spread out. The people that I found that have really made this project shine have been in various locations. So we got Jersey here, we got Philly here, we got Arizona in-house. And I'm in Brooklyn.
And you're in Brooklyn. And so how did you guys come to be the theme music for FX Justified?
They found me. It was some people in the promotions department that were looking for something to go along with the show for the commercials they were making for it. And I think they Googled bluegrass and hip hop, and that's something we come out at the top of. And so I got a call out of the blue saying we want the guy that makes Gangstagrass. And they licensed one of the tracks I'd done. And when the producers of the show saw the commercials they were making, they said, that's what we need for the theme song. So they had me do a new one for that.
So when you get a call out of the blue like that, did you just assume someone was playing a practical joke? Or is that kind of a call you get all the time?
I wouldn't say all the time, but I had licensed stuff before. And so, but that was a big one. That was a great opportunity, and it was perfect kind of exposure for us.
Yeah. Because
then people hear it just out of the blue, every week. And when we try to tell people, oh, it's bluegrass hip-hop with words, they imagine something really bad.
It definitely, when I first heard about you guys, I had to YouTube it to figure out, what it was.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised.
So that's the hurdle that we have to overcome. But having it just come on the TV, then people go, oh, what is that? That's cool. So that was great for us.
And so you guys are on tour now, I assume, or are you just in for this one show?
Yeah, we're on tour.
We are rampaging across the eastern half of the United States right now.
Yeah, and whereabouts are you guys touring? Like, where are you hitting?
We're just sort of wrapping up it's been 2 weeks on the road so far now. When we do our usual Midwest run, we get out about as far as Chicago, Indianapolis, down to St. Louis, Nashville, back down through the North Carolina region, which usually receives us pretty well. And last night we were over in Syracuse, getting over to here Somerville, and then back through upstate New York a little bit to Saratoga Springs and Geneseo.
Now, do you guys have a tour bus, or are you vanning it, or how does that?
We got a van.
You got a van?
We're packed in tight.
Yeah,
it's more of a cardboard box. If you think about the Flintstones, there's no bottom to it,
so you got to stop and yeah. So how do you guys write? Do you guys start with lyrics, or do you start with a riff, or who does most of the writing?
Everybody does a little bit.
Everybody pitches in.
That's the fun part. It can switch up depending on whether we're starting with an instrumental riff or a hip hop beat, or somebody has a verse or a lyrical idea. It could sort of be anything, and so the songs end up really different.
And so Landry, you said what you play, and had I not seen you playing at Soundcheck, I would not know what it is. Can you describe?
It's probably in most of your favorite songs.
It's probably in most of my favorite songs, but
in the background.
How would you describe it to a layperson?
It's a steel guitar.
Yeah.
It comes under the umbrella of steel guitar. It's a slide guitar. It's a dobro. It's a resonator guitar. I play mine electrified. It's kind of like a lap steel. There are all kinds of words for it, but it looks like a guitar, and I play it flat, and I use a bar and slide around and make.
So are you more the bluegrass side? Is that your background? How did you get into that?
The dobro?
Yeah.
I was at the Kerrville Folk Festival, and I saw a friend playing it. I'd never seen one. I was 20 years old, and I just remember being stuck in jams with 19 guitars and feeling like, oh, I can't shred on this, and there's... Yeah. Everyone's got it covered. What can I do differently? How can I contribute in a different way? And I saw that, and I was like, show me your way. And pretty much just self-taught for the most part. Hit all the wrong doing the right ones. So still doing it.
These guys.
Now she hits a whole lot of right ones.
So how long has this... Because you've had other members of the band, correct? How long has this group been together?
5 years.
5 years. And for the people who aren't local, how did you find them?
Well, Wrench and I were in another band back in 03, 04, back when I used to live in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. So when he started wanting to hit the road with the Gangstagrass movement, he reached out. And I reached out to our son because he's always been one of my favorite MCs, and he's crazy enough to say yes.
And so, our son, when you were approached about being in a hip hop bluegrass band, was that an automatic yes, or?
I was on my way to work, he called me up, was like, "Yo, you want to do something crazy?" Yo, I met this dude.
So you're that guy.
I met Wrench on a Wednesday night for like 10 minutes, listened to a couple of the joints, got on stage, we rocked out, and then just got into a van with him and 3 other guys. You know, it's not something I recommend for everybody.
They haven't brought you home
don't
yet?
Just climb in a van with random ass people.
We don't want to say the answer to want to do something crazy is always yes.
Yeah.
So try to use some judgment out there, folks.
But in this case, it worked out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And, sorry, Dan.
I met them on Craigslist.
Which is not a joke.
Oh, really?
It was misconnections. It's
No
like,
strings attached.
but it was all strings
So was it like
attached.
band seeking man? Is that
essentially, yeah, B4M, yeah, or band for banjo. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much what it was. And I didn't even have that clear of an idea of what it was I was going in for, but they were just like, have an open mind and just be willing to try some stuff out. And I think I was, right?
So were you always into banjo, or is that something you picked up?
I definitely, I've always, I grew up listening to bluegrass in D.C. My dad played when I was growing up, and I play with him a little bit now. And
So you're like a Steve Martin fan?
sure, yeah, yeah. I mean, he does great things for the instrument for sure. Like he's definitely an advocate, and
Don't hold back.
You
Dan.
gotta
Don't hold back.
man. Oh, you said this is an explicit label, right?
Yeah, you can say whatever
Well,
you want.
listen. Okay.
Wait, is Dan the guy that bores you guys with like the history of the banjo, or?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I do my best. Yeah. But it's been a lot of fun. I mean, the banjo being from Africa, like it's actually been a really great opportunity for me to, anytime I ever get bored with bluegrass, which it's not that I get bored, but this is such a great opportunity to just expand it in anything that I feel like I'm not creatively satisfied with regular bluegrass playing. I go here and it just covers so many bases.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of fun.
So are you guys currently working on an album? I'm not sure when your last album came out, to be honest with you, but is it something is it in the works, or?
Last one was a while back, but what we're doing is recording all of these shows.
Oh, no
and
kidding.
Picking out some highlights to put out a live album, because what we do live is a whole other level from hearing the recorded studio albums. We go crazy on this stuff and have a lot of spontaneous stuff going on.
And you guys have the prerequisite YouTube videos, because I've been checking those out.
Gotta have
does Randy always wear a Superman Star Wars T-shirt on them, or is that
It's always
Every show.
So you'll notice he's wearing an
You'll get
Eagles.
the extra
It's
special
an
one
Eagles
tonight.
shirt right now, but it's also
it's a
Superman.
You get the
Superman
extra
Eagles.
special one.
Yeah.
Always.
Wherever I'm at, Philly's in the building. So just recognize that.
Even Boston, Randy.
Everywhere.
That's all right. We get downloaded in Philly. It's all right. People listen. So, Wrench, you started this band. Is this farther than you ever expected it to go, or?
Well, yeah, when I first did it, it was like a fun side project that I was just doing just to get out some ideas that I had. I was doing my own honky-tonk hip-hop stuff as like a solo artist.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a surprise when this just started taking off beyond anything else.
So what is the goal? Like, what is your dream gig?
Dream gig is going to be an underwater performance in the Mariana Trench, where we're riding sharks with laser I-beams.
That's pretty sweet.
We're working towards it. You got to take baby steps.
I'm assuming these are trained sharks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The hardest part is training.
We're working on that.
They're stubborn.
We've had some setbacks.
So you guys were saying earlier that you guys get some weird talk radio interviews where you're kind of jammed in small spaces to play. How often do you end up doing this kind of the side of the business? Do you get a lot of radio interviews? And
Yeah.
A good number, yeah. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I feel like talking about it is okay. I don't want to say half the fun, but it's rewarding, and it sort of helps us. It keeps us reminded of what we're doing, why we're doing it. Every time we explain it to people. Although it is tough to tell somebody, well, it's bluegrass hip hop. We rarely just sit down and talk about it. We much rather would just play it for you and have you hear it and figure it out, decide for yourself whether you actually like it.
I feel like the type of music you're playing, there's got to be a lot of legwork to almost sell it to people, and
do you find times where you would prefer people just kind of buy into it right away, or maybe like, maybe if we did something different that we wouldn't have to convince people? Or
part of it is just seeing that look on their face change when they first hear it.
Yeah.
It literally was the second I hit play, it came on, I was kind of like, oh, this is totally my wheelhouse. I like kind of unusual mixes. A couple years ago, we saw a band play Mariachi El Bronx. They're a hardcore band that has put out a few mariachi albums.
Is it Metalachi?
Metal? No, it's pretty straight.
There's a group called Metalachi.
Oh, really?
There's a group called Metalachi that does that too. They're great.
Oh, I'll have to check them out. But it blew me away. It was pretty straight mariachi, and I loved it. Do you find certain areas where you tour more receptive than others?
The great thing about it is no. Like 999 people out of 1,000, they hear it, they're like, oh, damn, that's hot. You know what I'm saying? And so it is, for me, I like that moment when people are like, oh, okay, that's dope. You know, when you see it in their face. A lot of cats, they come into it, it's either like they know exactly what they're getting, or they're like, all right, I'm bored. Let me see what's gonna happen here. And you know, they're in the joint, and as soon as they hit it, it's like, oh, all right, okay, I see where this is going. You know, and you wish that it was an easier thing to do from like a grander scale. Like, hey, this is on every channel everywhere. Everybody should get it. But at the same time, it's a good feeling to see that look in somebody's eyes when they get it.
Well, that's an interesting thing that you brought up about being on every channel everywhere. I mean, the music industry's changed so much where you don't even have to be on a channel anywhere. Do you find more fans from like YouTube, Facebook kind of thing?
Yeah. Because we're at this weird intersection, it's not like they know where to put us.
Yeah.
If they were trying.
So and I don't want to be like, do you guys not get any radio play? But do you get played anywhere? Like college radio or?
Yeah, we got a little college radio and some cool indie stations. Yeah, but yeah, mostly we're out there just kind of finding fans through hand-to-hand combat.
Nice.
But the UK really loves us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We love them.
You're big in the UK?
Yeah, big in the UK, Scotland, Germany.
Have you guys toured over there?
Yeah.
What was this one girl? I just thought of her while you were talking about that. She was like, you played the gangster rap and the bluegrass. It's the gangster rap and the bluegrass. I love the gangster rap and the bluegrass. And I was like, you're our little, you're a mascot.
But that's just like okay. So
can't wait till this podcast comes out and I can sample that.
Yeah. But to your question, like some regions, you know, when we get into that Appalachian, Kentucky, West Virginia, Tennessee, like that part of the country, that's where bluegrass is from. So naturally, they get the bluegrass element of it a little bit quicker. When we're in cities, maybe with stronger hip hop culture, maybe they get that element of it a little bit quicker. But bluegrass is everywhere here. Hip hop is everywhere. And so it's interesting when you go abroad. We've been through the Czech Republic, Germany, France, big festivals over there. And we play for people over there. And it's like they don't really understand either style of music.
So they don't see the kind of divide.
They don't see the difference. They're just like, oh, okay, it's cool American music. Then we have to explain to them, no, not everyone does this at home. We're weird. We're unusual.
So being kind of that unusual mix, like where do your influences come from? Where do your influences come from?
That's our backup band we got playing. We like to bring them around with us just to pump us up. Yeah. This is our influences. All right.
So who's
our bands of America are our influences.
But I mean, legit, like anything we listen to comes into it. I think, you know, I'm pretty steeped in the bluegrass roots of it. These guys are hip hop from way back, but I don't know. It all comes into it, right?
I listen to a lot of Steely Dan and Swing Out Sister, to be totally honest. But on the rhyme tip, anybody that's saying something on a couple of levels of being able to create and tell an interesting story, regardless of what that story is, and do it with a with a at least semi-impressive vocabulary, I'm all about that.
Yeah, pretty much the same for me. I'm really into storytellers, people who are really good at their craft, and people who are good at mastering the ceremony, so to speak.
Yeah. So I would love to talk with you guys more, but I see your food's here. And
we are having a good time talking. Yeah.
And I think we're just getting drowned out. So I appreciate you guys taking the time. And as a duly representative of Plymouth, I invite you guys there. There's a great music scene in Plymouth. And so thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you, man.
Holy shit.
Check it out.
Holy shit.
This has been Gangstagrass, coming to you from Thunder Road.
Holy shit.
Catch us next time. Yeah.
Hit pause. Can you just hit pause on that? You gotta use the mouse.
I'm surprised we got that far.
I appreciate it.
That was fantastic. Yeah. Thanks, man. Sorry.
On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off who wants some. I'm fighting for my soul, God get at your boy. You try to bogart, fall back, I go hard. On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off who wants some.
I see them long hard times to come.
My life is ill, son. Prepared to kill, son. A paradox of pain, baby, cause real, son. Lonely traveler, ain't trying to battle you, but if you're feeling tough, dog, I welcome all challenges. Ain't got no family, you see this one of me. Might lose your post standing 2 feet in front of me. I'm pissed at the world, but I ain't looking for trouble. I might crack a grin, I ain't looking to hug you. Now think about it. Nobody wants to die. There's rules to this game, son. I'm justified. I'm ready to go, partner. Hey, I'm on the run. The devil's hugging on my boots, that's why I own a gun. This journey's too long, I'm looking for some answers. So much time stressing, I forget the questions. I fear no man, you don't want no problems. Be eyes in the back of my head, you better not follow me. On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off who wants some. I'm fighting for my soul, God get at your boy. You try to bogart, fall back, I go hard. On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off who wants some.
I see them long hard times to come.
You probably think I'm crazy or got some loose screws, but that's alright though, I'ma do me, you do you. So how you judging me? I'm just trying to survive, and if the time comes, I ain't trying to die. I'm just trying to fly and get a little love. Find me a dime piece and get a little hug. Hook the car up, hit the bar up, clean the scars up. Hey yo, the stars up. Hey, this is the life of an outlaw. We ain't promised tomorrow, I'm living now, dog. I'm walking through life, but yo, my feet hurt. All my blessings are fair, man, I rest when I'm dead. Look into my eyes and see the real world. Take a walk with me, have a talk with me. Where we end up, God only knows. Strap your boots on tight, you might be alright. On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off who wants some. I'm fighting for my soul, God get at your boy. You try to bogart, fall back, I go hard. On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off who wants some.
I see them long hard times to come.
On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off who wants some. I'm fighting for my soul, God get at your boy. You try to bogart, fall back, I go hard. On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off who wants some.
I see them long hard times to come.
On this lonely road, trying some pissed off who won't some. I'm fighting for my soul, God get at you boy. You try to bogart, fall back, I go hard on this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing the bomb, I'm most pissed off who won't some.
I see them long hard times to come.
And do yourself a favor and savor the taste of the fruits of my labor. You may not be able to take all the flavor, so eat some now and save the rest for later. The bottle of a modern major general, lacing your system with vitamins and minerals, all natural with no trace of chemicals, no pretense. With a pen I'm the pinnacle. have you going plumb loco. I hit quick as the sticks in a drum solo. Dan on the banjo, Landry strums the dobro. So silky smooth, we're about to let some soul glow. Juice like a truck full of tangerines. Crowd bouncing like they're stuck on trampolines. If you're gambling, bet on Randall Green. The gunslingers on the road, still rambling. Bartender, pass me a Sprite with a lime to wet my whistle and hit you with the most insightful of rhymes. Called a hater, told I should write for the times. My reply, you must not be right in your mind. Architect, archetype, delightful design. So you ain't smart enough to try to trifle with mine. Flipping physics, so bright that when I shine, I manage somehow to bring sight to the blind. Corporate radio wants to stifle the kind of music that I make, so it's vital that I'm good like fruit when it's ripe on the vine. Full of flavor when you take a bite right from the rind. Every line I spit is the type to rewind. Go back and re-listen cause you like what you find. Not a rap nigga with a life full of crime, but you want me in your corner when your life's on the line. If you don't like dance, don't ride with me. If you don't like my features, don't shake my tree. If you don't like dance, don't ride with me. If you don't like my features, don't shake my tree. If you don't like dance, don't ride with me. If you don't like my features, don't shake my tree. If you don't like dance, don't ride with me. If you don't like my features, don't shake my tree. Several steps ahead of the rest. More dope than your drug dealer's medicine chest. Composer of the most incredible text, and I'm always the most so nevertheless. Heavens to Betsy, goodness gracious. Rebel wordsmith, hand solo gracious. This gives me a pass to the head of the class. You dunce cap rappers better know your places.